Three most popular domestic animals in the world are the dog, the cat, and the horse. Now, it's quite possible that man could have survived without the friendship of the first two, but it is questionable how far the human race would have come and how fast, but for man's close partnership with Equus caballos, the horse. From the dawn of time, man and horse have worked together. Theirs was a partnership in the business of conquest and civilization. They rode into battle, fought crusades, and founded empires. But they also plowed the fields and hauled the timbers to feed and shelter an ever-expanding race of men. Exactly when this relationship started, no one knows for sure. But it is safe to say that it was the horse's usefulness that first appealed to men. But even primitive man had a sense of beauty, an appreciation of such virtues as grace, courage, nobility. And so it was natural that in the days of Greek mythology, the dynamic beauty of the horse excited the imagination of man. One of the favorite figures in Grecian art was Pegasus, the winged horse who soared between earth and the heavenly playgrounds of the gods. With such a wondrous creature to ride, man believed that he too could achieve the status of a god. This same yearning produced still another mythological being, the centaur. A strange compound creature combining the powers of the horse with the intelligence of man. It remained for a young king in the 4th century BC, Alexander of Macedon, to turn dreams and myths into reality. Mounted on his great black stallion Bucephalus, Alexander the Great did achieve fame and immortality. The young king and his war horse had conquered the entire civilized world. Down through the ages, the course of human events was often led by the man on horseback. Wherever there were great events, there seemed also to be great horses, such as Marengo, who shared victory and despair alike with his master, Napoleon Bonaparte. We know about Deacon Larkin's borrowed mare, who sped a Boston silversmith named Paul Revere on an historic ride so vital to the American Revolution. There was a certain courageous little war pony named Comanche, the only living survivor of General Custer's command in its epic stand against the warriors of the Sioux. For this, he was decorated by the War Department and received military honors to the end of his days. Right down to the winning of the American West, the horse played a major role in shaping man's destiny. Yet tragically, even as the horse led the way to a new frontier, the days of his partnership were numbered. The mechanical age was fast approaching. Strangely enough, it was right here on the plains of America that the real story of the horse began, back in the dawn of time. In her own unique storybooks written on the face and the subsurface of the earth, nature tells of the first horse. He was a little fellow called Eohippus, who lived in the area of the western American states. Eohippus was about 12 inches high, and he could run very fast, a talent that enabled him to survive the company of some unpleasant neighbors. Ages went by, and nature, pleased with this pilot model of a horse, began a program of improvements. Eohippus grew larger and stronger. His 5-toed foot developed into a single great toe or hoof to boost his running powers. He was provided with an especially engineered set of teeth that enabled him to chew and subsist on the barest kind of vegetation. We don't know at what precise age man and horse met one another, but safe to say it was not a mutual admiration society in the beginning. The idea of man riding a horse probably came about as an accident. As time went by, they gained confidence in one another, marred by only occasional little misunderstandings. The horse was a wanderer by nature. Soon he spread out from his ancestral home in North America. Some journeyed south, others moved north, and across the then existing land bridge into Asia. During this era, a strange thing happened. Every horse on the North and South American continents disappeared. What happened to them is a mystery to this day. The only survivors of the breed were the wandering horses who had crossed the Alaskan land bridge into Asia. These hardy creatures not only met the challenge of survival, but multiplied profusely and kept right on wandering. One group sheared off due west across northern Europe and down into France, Spain, and Britain. Conditioned by nature to meet the extremes of weather, these horses became huge, hairy, and powerful. They drew the plows, hauled the timber, and on their broad backs bore the armored knights into battle. Meantime, another strain of horses had come out of Asia, moving south and west, down to the warm climes of Persia, Arabia, and to the western deserts of Egypt and Libya. These horses evolved into light, clean-limbed animals of grace and speed, and they were the ancestors of our modern thoroughbreds. This classic Arabian stock burst full upon the Western world during the invasion of Spain by the Moorish armies. Mounted on the speedy Arabian horses, the Moors easily rode rings around the Christians on their heavy-footed European animals and defeated them soundly. Years later, the Moors were finally driven out of Spain, but their graceful fighting horse remained. This horse was to play a key role in the opening of the New World. In the year 1519, the Spaniard Hernando Cortes landed on the shores of Mexico with a tiny army accompanied by 11 stallions and 5 mares. The horse had at last returned to his homeland. It had been a strange journey across countless ages of time. It had taken him all the way around the face of the globe. Now at last he was back in the land of his ancestors, a land in which not a single horse had existed for thousands of years. Seeing horses for the first time, the Indians thought they were gods. Indeed, at first they believed the horse and the man astride him were but a single animal. An object of particular awe to the Aztecs was Cortes' great charger, Morzillo, who was a terror in battle. Today, in the city of Remedios, the remains of a temple still exist where the Indians worshipped a towering statue of Morzillo. But there really was no need for superstitious awe to make the horse grow in the affection of man. Their mutual interdependence kept developing until in the first decade of our century, the horse population in the United States alone rose to 30 million. Today, there are still almost 75 million horses of every description in the world, mostly used in agriculture in countries not yet completely mechanized. From an all-time low in the United States only a few years ago, our equine population has made an amazing comeback. It has more than doubled. The reason for this astonishing development may be that more people are becoming aware that the value of an animal may go way beyond its mere utility, and that a creature of such admirable character may be appreciated for the sheer pleasure it gives us. What's more, perhaps man needs the constant reminder that but for the long and faithful partnership between him and the horse, the story of mankind might have been considerably different. In fact, it might never have been written.